I'm just going to wait a little bit. Let most of you turn up. Give you about a minute or so. And for those that are here, that are present today, take this moment to feel into yourself, to become aware of your body, what's happening. Just take a breath in through your nose. Hold it on top. And then just exhale. So there we are. It is 5 o'clock UK time. Some of you will be popping on, and that's perfect. And some of you will be watching this on the replay. So welcome to Scrumptious Communications. I'm so excited to be here. The download that I've been getting about communication and how to really have it be scrumptious, how to have it be everything that comes through you have been all the time. There've just been more and more and more downloads. So first of all, thank you for taking this time to join me, to be in this program. So really take a moment and celebrate that and really honor that you've taken the time to be here, to be with yourself, to recognize how you are communicating. And by communicating, I don't mean conversation. That's part of it, but that's not everything, right? So it's really communication is what we say in the world, how we act in the world, and what we do, right? So it's really, who are we in this world? What do we portray? What don't we say? What do we say, and how do we say it? Because so often we are plagued by not good enough, or either not good enough. We have all these feelings, right? Someone has told us that, I'm Dutch, so people in Holland say, be normal, then you're already crazy enough. So for a lot of my time, it's like, oh, you're too big. That's just too much. You're too strange. You use your hands too much. You use too many expressions. So what happens is that the perfection of who we are, and really, like, when a baby is born, you see how liberated they are and how just they are fully sovereign. They're themselves, but they obviously need parents and need other people to take care of them, but yet they look at life in curiosity. We, on the other hand, have heard so many that's got like a little slap on the fingers, or have heard, hey, don't do that. Or, when you said, no, I don't want to kiss Auntie Jeannie, it's like, no, go kiss her. You have to. She's your auntie. Go and kiss her. So over the years, all these messages that we've gotten have loaded into our psyche and have loaded into the body. So I want you just to take a breath there, right? Things do load into the body, and we do load things into our psyche as well, and we forget about things. We actually bury things just because it may be too much to handle at that time. So that is all possible, and that's all why we do not communicate exactly what it is that we want. So one of the first things that I see with my clients is, and they're mostly, very self-led women and couples, but they have toned themselves down a little bit. They might be very successful in business, and yet then in a partnership or in actually feeling body confident or into their intimacy, they are lacking. a lot of confidence, and they're lacking the skills to communicate exactly what it is they want. And oftentimes they don't even know exactly what they want. So it is something that happens all the time. It's you're not the only one. But notice the difference. Some of my clients come to me and they're like, "Ah, I wish he would do this for me." It's like, so if you hear that communication, there's a lot of lack, or there's a lot of like blaming, like it's inadvertently insinuated that I wish he would do this. So it's insinuated he's not doing something that I want, which always makes it difficult, right? For a man, for a woman, for a partner, whatever your binary or non-binary, what your sexual orientation is, what your gender is. It's difficult to hear in a criticism voice. It's difficult to hear criticism. It's it kind of has people close off. So one of the things that I hear often is like, you never and you always. Now think back to when someone has said that to you. It's like, you never take the rubbish out, or you never are at school plays with the kids like someone else, right? So we're comparing. What's happening there is it's coming from an energy of lack, of something which is missing. And when you communicate something in that energy, it's always going to be felt by the other partner. So instead of saying, you never come to, I remember something I used to say to my ex-husbands, like, oh, you never have enough time to come to all four kids' parent-teacher evenings. And I'd leave it there. And then, the further and further I got into this, it's like, I'd say, it's I've noticed that you don't have time to come to the kids' parent-teacher evenings. And I know both they and I are a little bit hurt by that, because we make up this story that we're not important enough to you. Do you see what a different communication that is? Right? We can be the one that actually is vulnerable and saying, hey, I would really like some more connection with you. Or I would really love it if you could take part in the kids' education and could get to know the teachers with me. So would you be able to come to their parent-teacher evening? Just notice in yourself, when you listen to those different ways of communication, and this is conversation, right? We are talking about conversation here, but how we are bringing that across. Notice what happens in your body. In one of them, are you going back a little bit, or it's like, whoa, that almost feels like an attack? And in the other one, are you like kind of more relaxed? Is there the energy of like, oh, let me listen to this. Let me actually lean in. It's like, oh, I understand what they're saying. And I could feel like that too. So that is really important. Then the other phrase I hear all the time, and this, by the way, is another one all the time, is you always put work up in front of our family. You always listen to everyone else except for me. How does that load into your body? What emotions does that bring up? Maybe you've been taught things like this by your parents, by your friends, by your siblings, partners. What does it feel like to receive that? Because communication is both ways, right? It's not just one person making the communication, you're also receiving it. Right. No, it does feel, you get taken aback a bit, right? And for what's the body sensation? I mean, yes, great body awareness. So tightness in your chest, beautiful. And really start being aware of that, right? And this is where it comes back to how we have been taught these things and how our body responds to it, what what memories we have of something. Yes, it takes you back to when you were a 6-year-old and got told off. Isn't that the truth? So often, such a beautiful way into this. So often, that's what happens, right? We tighten up and our body kind of like remembers a moment in time where we had an incident which was traumatic or an intense experience. So, what I mean with trauma is anything that happened too fast, too soon for either your psyche or your body to comprehend. So, we've all had that, right? So, I know there are people talking about big T and small t's, but let's be honest, we've all had something that happened to us that our body or mind could not regulate. So, our nervous system was like, woo. And so for a lot of people, it's completely different how they experience trauma or intense experiences, because some of them regulated it well and they're like, it's not a big deal. But some of us immediately, when our spouses or our partners or whoever communicate, they have a conversation with us and throw things at us, we then go back into that freeze state. So just take a moment and realize that you can go into freeze, you can go into flight, or you can go into fight, right? And of course, also into fawn, where it becomes like, like think about the rabbit or the dog lying on its back with its belly exposed, just saying, hey, no, anything, I'll do anything to please you. But also realize that communication is the way that you hold yourself. It's body language. It's how often have you talked to your kids or talked to your partner and they're on their phone. They're like, hey baby, I'm done with dinner. Do you want to come for dinner? I made you what you really want. And the partners is like, yeah, that's, oh great. Yeah, that's good. So what happens to you? You're like, whew, okay. I communicated to you. I said something to you that I spent time making you the dish that you really love, and I'd love you to come to dinner. And all I got was like, yeah, it's fine. So it's pretty difficult not to have that load in and have us not feel triggered or hurt, right? So one of the best ways to deal with that is to slow down, take a breath in and exhale. And exhale. And then go to your partner and say, hey, I would love to connect with you. Do you have 20 minutes today or tomorrow where we put our phones on the side and you and I can connect? We don't talk about the kids, and I want to connect. Oftentimes, people do want to connect, right? You're in this partnership together. It's not like one goes their own way and the other completely their other way. But if you're vulnerable and saying, I'd love to connect, but when is a good time for you? Because that's one of the things that we forget, that we come up to our partner, we ask them something, and they may not be in the space that they can even hear it. So I've had this happen when I've made food, said it's all ready. Yeah, mostly by my kids. So not taking it personally, but then waiting for them to finish their communication, looking at their body language, that they're engrossed in something else, standing in front of them, waiting until they're finished, and then saying, hey, or if they're not finished, give them a tap on the shoulder and saying, hey, can I have your attention one moment? And they're like, yes. Like, darling, I've just told you dinner is ready. We'll be having dinner in 5 minutes. Please make sure that you're on time. Which is so much better. It's like, I told you that I made everything that you love, etc., etc. Right? I mean, who's had that? Yes. Yeah, right. I know. And then you get so defensive. That's the whole thing. You've been slaving. That's what Melanie says. You've been slaving away for, say, like an hour, or you've been preparing stuff. And even though you like it, it kind of feels like if no one really appreciates what you do, then you're just like, why am I doing it? Right? So underneath everything is how we want to portray ourselves, how we want to communicate. What is communication? Yeah, we dipped into a little bit. I gave you a few examples of what conversation is, of how you can vocally communicate. But if you think about communication and how to do this in a way that you can really get to know your partner, where it feels scrumptious, you can get to know your kids, your friends, and you can communicate whatever it is that you really desire. For instance, how often have you said yes and you actually meant no? We've all done it. We've all done it. Will you come to dinner next week? Something's on, but she'll think that I'm ignoring her if I don't come. Think about all those mind chatter. Think about all those excuses that you might make up, or all the, not even excuses, but what are the voices in your head? I did this the other week in one of our retreats, where I really noticed that most of the women had said yes when they meant to say no. So what I'd like you to do now, if you can, and if it's safe to do so, is stand up. So I'm going to stand up here, move away, so you can see me. All right, so if you can, plant your feet properly, feet on the floor. Let's take a breath in through your nose. Exhale out through your mouth. Notice your feet on the floor, really the energy pulling you down, and just being present. Now go ahead and close your eyes, and then ask yourself a question where the answer is yes to. So for me, it would be, is my name Juliet? And then just notice what your body does. Thank you. So you might need to watch the replay or keep this open, your eyes open while I'm doing this. So as I ask, is my name Juliet? My body goes forwards up to the point that I really feel my heels coming off the ground. All right, so I'm going to take a breath, exhale, just let that go. And then, is my name Christopher? My toes came off the floor. Again, is my name Charlotte? You see this one taking a bit longer. My mother's name is Charlotte, so well, one of her names is Charlotte. So let's ask another one. Is my name Alex? So now you go ahead and do that. Close your eyes. Is my name, and then whatever your name is. And notice if your body swings forward, backwards, maybe to the side. Really notice. That's our subconscious talking to us, right? So much, like 95% of communication is subconscious. Take a breath in and out. And then go ahead and ask, is my name? And then use a completely different name. Use the name of your partner, of your child, maybe someone completely different. That might even be easier. And then again, notice what happens. What happens with your body? This way forward, backwards. All right, and then go ahead and sit down. So often we say no, we say yes when we actually mean no. So now that you have this kinesthetic feeling, that this actually felt sense in your body, what a no is. Let's go through the following exercise. Can I touch your hair? And notice where your body might go forward, backwards. There might be a bit of contraction or expansion if it's a yes. Oftentimes contractions are for no, right? It might be around the solar plexus, the heart, or the genitals, all that part of the throat might feel like, no. And then where yes, it's like, oh, yes. People might lean forward there. No, they kind of like repel a bit. And also know that this might be completely the opposite for you. Can I give you $1 million? And then it might feel like untruthful. So that might be another one. Do you want to spend Christmas with us? Can I tell you how I feel about you? Notice where your body is responding in a certain way and your mind might want to say like, that's a little bit weird. So when we talk about communication, if we go back to conversation, right? So we've now have a bit of an idea of what a no and a yes feels like in our body, right? Let's go back to understanding why we say yes. And we say yes often because we want to please the other person. We don't want to come across as a bitch or, someone that's just stingy. I remember when I used to smoke and I'd have my last cigarette and someone on the street say, can I have a cigarette? I'd be like, oh man, it's my last one. And I'd be thinking, oh, it's my last one. And yet I'd still give that, conditioned to just give, right? Where actually the communication would have been, it's like, oh, it's my last one. I would love to give it to you, but I don't have any more and I don't have any money to buy a next one. So no. The answer is no. That's a whole, no is a whole sentence. But where someone could just come up saying, can I have a cigarette? It's like, no. Where do we feel obliged to say more? To explain, to be liked. to be validated. So much of the communication takes place because of this, of needing to be validated, needing to be liked. And actually what we all want is we want to be understood. We want to be seen. We want to be heard. We want to be loved. And we want to be understood. So what I do with my clients is I have them put on a timer for 20 minutes and say, hey, we're not having a conversation because we're having a communication. This is a communication skills game. And actually my clients, and sometimes even with dinner parties, we do this. People are like, oh, what are we up for? It's like, well, we're going to do this communication game. Like, don't we all want to have better communication skills? And they're like, yeah, pretty good. Like, so it works like this. We have a prompt. We have one question that we ask, and it's the same prompt for 20 minutes. People are like, you're going to ask me the same thing 20 minutes? Like, yes. Like, why? Like, because what happens is when we communicate or when we talk, so often when we talk to someone or when we ask a question or when we're in a conversation with someone at dinner, the other person is already rehearsing what they want to say in their mind. Has anyone had that? Yes, with your kids. Yes. Oh God, mine too. Right? Like, so often people, when they're really interested in something as well, they're like, yes, but they can't wait until you finish, because then they want to say their two things, their 2 cents worth, right? Oh, yes. Completely hear you there. Let me just read that. Yeah, so I have my current partner, and then he comes, my kids come, and all 4 of them turn out, and they're in their 20s now. But what happens is they get so excited that they talk on top of each other, and then no one listens, and they get aggravated, and then it's like, before you know it, it's like, whoo, combustion, right? Well, the only thing that they really wanted is to be seen, heard, loved, and understood. So yeah, so you can actually do this at the table as well, but I'll explain that a bit later. So the sole purpose of this exercise is to understand the other person. All right. So the prompt would be, tell me what you love about our relationship. So I'm asking myself, but say I'm asking Amy, tell me what you love about our relationship. Amy takes this in, takes a breath, really lets that land, and just speaks from that point. Says, what I love is that we're able to communicate without the other person feeling blamed. We're able to talk about everything. And that has me feel really safe. So I, as the receiver, would say, thank you, because I've understood the communication. I'm not going to piggyback on her statement and say, yes, and I think we do this and that. No, it's to understand what she said. If I didn't understand what she said, I would have said, clarify that. Clarify that. She said, well, what I love most about our relationship is the way that we're honest and truthful with each other, and that has me feel safe. And I would say, thank you. I've completely understood that communication. And sometimes you have to say, shorten that, right? Because sometimes people go on and on and on and on and on. And it's like, yes, well, I loved it when you did this and that. And then we were, we were with my parents and this and that. It's like, shorten that, just make that a short statement. And oftentimes we find that really difficult to interrupt the partner because we think, well, we have to let them speak. But what you're actually doing there is you are helping them get clear on what they want to say. And by shortening it, by really making it more concise. So clarify that. Yes, thank you when you've understood, and shorten it. All right. It's a super powerful technique. I'm not going to take you through it for 20 minutes, but what we'll do here is I'll get you to just do for 2 minutes. I'll ask you the same prompt time and time again. So what we do here, it would be alternating if you do it with your partner, or you could do it one way and then ask it from someone else, and then the other person asks. How I like doing it is alternating it, because it means at first you get like the little normal responses, and then afterwards you get the really much deeper diving. Yeah, you bring intimacy is what you have on the inside, and then you bring that out. So another question would be, let's do 2 minutes of that. Tell me what you need me to understand about you. And then take a breath, let that prompt land. And go ahead and speak it out loud. Whatever you need, your partner, your kids, your parents, whoever it is, what do you need them to understand about you? Thank you. Take a deep breath in and exhale. And then tell me, what do you need me to understand about you? And again, take a breath in, let that land, and make that communication really from the utmost part of you, from the deep inside of you. And let it go. Take a breath in. Thank you. And again, what do you need? Tell me what you need me to understand about you. And it could be something, I need you to understand that when you leave dirty laundry on the floor, it drives me crazy. And the other person would say, thank you. Tell me what you need me to understand about you. And it could be when you touch me on my shoulder, or you come and stand behind me. I know that you mean well, and my body goes into a freeze response. I go straight back to when someone did that to really hurt me. And then as the other person, say thank you. This is where we want to lean in and say, oh, I'm so sorry for you, but that's not the aim of this communication. That's not the aim. We're trying to be a safe space where the other can express whatever is coming up for them. And also for us not to take on that charge, right? That electricity or the negativity. We're really getting clear that, okay, thank you. Tell me what you need me to understand about you. It could be some things like, my mom used to beat me as a boy. And that's why I have massive trouble with authority. It just puts my hair up in the back of my head and I just want to rebel against it. And then you say, thank you. But really start noticing, where can you go even deeper? How can you communicate to yourself what's going on? Because let's be honest, communicating to ourselves is the most important and the most intimate relationship, right? The relationship with ourselves is the most important relationship we'll ever have. So where have we fooled ourselves? Where have we maybe not been honest? Where have we not kept our word? Or where have we said yes instead of no? Where has perhaps a partner, a client, been unhappy with you? And instead of holding your ground, or instead of hearing the communication, you have taken on that must be that you're unlovable, that you're not worthy, that you've done something wrong. And it's always about the other person's feelings, right? The communication is also, it's like how do the birds communicate with us? The chirping when we walk in nature. How do we communicate with nature? Are we present? Are we actually noticing what's going on in the world? Are we noticing what's going on, seeing the green leaves of the grass, smelling the air? Are we using all our senses? Or are we busy on the phone and just kind of like texting at the same time, throwing a ball at a dog and having a conversation? All of them are neither wrong nor right, but they are the way that we communicate with ourselves, with others, and out into the universe. For a lot of us, we may like to meditate, or we may like to be a bit mindful and just to take a breath. Yeah, to realize it's like, oh, I've been going so fast. I've been running at such a fast speed that everything needs to be done because I have very little time. Who else has that, right? There's never enough time. Yes, Jackie. I had 4 kids under the age of 3, so I understand with kids, it feels like there are never enough hours in a day, right? And yet when you're constantly pacing, then what are you communicating to yourself? Are you taking the care of yourself? Are you taking an occasional bath and just relaxing and putting like almost a sign on the door saying, hey, stop, this is me time? We could go into whole self-care part of communication, and that's, maybe we'll do that tomorrow. But it's really, where can we take the time to communicate to ourselves that, hey, I am important. I don't need to be validated by other people, but I do need to validate myself. I do need to hold myself in respect. So when I rush through the morning and I make sure that everyone else is okay and I'm not filling my own cup, you can't pour. You can't pour from an empty cup, or like here, my jug of water. It's full, or it's half full. So I can pour into a glass. When there's no more in here, I can't keep giving. And that's something that mothers amongst us do quite often. We give and we give and we give, and that's kind of being conditioned into us to do, to give. So what you're communicating to your children is that that's the mother's role, and I will always give to you no matter how tired I am, how much um, pain I'm in. It's always my job to do that. And then all of a sudden, when you switch, maybe later, when you're like, I can't do this anymore. My story was that I spent 9 months in hospital. So all of a sudden, my kids is like, whoa, mommy, you're not there for us. You can't do the things that you used to do. Like, right. So they had to step up, and at quite an early age, and they're in their teens, to help me with getting things done in the house, with actually being next to me so I wouldn't faint. So once that happens, you're like, okay, gotta take care of me a little bit. Sounds familiar? Yes. So many people have had, not the same, but a certain awakening, right? Where it's been like, oh, what am I communicating to myself? That I don't matter, that I'm last on the list. And this is not a healthy way to be. For me, it was my health suffered, my relationship suffered, and end of the day, then the kids also suffered, right? If all of that's not working, then there's a lot of change, and change creates a lot of instability. So start looking at what are the things that you're saying to yourself when you're looking in the mirror. We'll get into this a bit more tomorrow. When you're looking into the mirror, what are you saying? It's like, oh, I don't like my wrinkles. Like, oh, these lines here, I don't like them. I used to be, it used to be much thinner. Maybe you're saying, oh my God, I'm hot. Yeah, I like the way that I'm looking. But notice where there may be some negative thoughts that have creeped in, and that you might just want to shove under the carpet and not feel them. What are you communicating to yourself? What are you letting your body know? That you're not worthy, or that you have to work really hard. What are some of the communications you've heard from your parents, from those around you, around money, around relationships, around sex? I mean, this could be a whole program just around what are the things that you have been taught. Yeah, if we talk about money, like, yes, money doesn't grow on trees. Money doesn't grow on my back. Yes, that's a Dutch expression, I think, as well. Money is difficult to come by. We're not made of money. But do you see how many communications, are they actually what you believe in? Or are they floating around and you have picked them up from your parents, from school, from your partner, from your siblings? Just start being aware of where these communication patterns stem from. And then ask yourself, is this really what I want to communicate to the universe, to God, to my higher power, to whatever you want to call it? I like calling it universe because, yeah. Do I want to communicate to the universe that, ooh, money is really hard to come by? You've got to work really hard for money. Because the more that you communicate this, the more you're going to get that. Like relationships, like, oof, men always cheat on women. It's like it's the man's job to take care of the woman financially. It's the woman's job to take care of the kids. These are very outdated, and I'm just saying because they're at the top of my head. So you might not agree with them. I certainly don't. And I'm saying that these are some of the communications that we've heard over time, right? What are some of the shocking ones that you've heard? You're not the breadwinner here, so I have the say in everything, right? And there are a lot of mm, more negative ones that we've heard like this, right? And they do load in. So, what are some of the rephrases that you can say? I'm a sovereign being. I love myself. And at first, that might feel really quite difficult to say. It's like, oh, I love myself. It's a bit selfish. And I love myself. It's like, why is it selfish? No one else is going to love you as much as, you love yourself. But no one's going to do it for you. So start thinking. I want to just program this a little bit more, and we'll tweak it out a little bit more, and then the rest I'll leave for tomorrow. Is what are some of the things that you're fucking amazing at? I'm incredible because for me, it's like I've birthed 4 children. Holy moly, that is like a big feat. I'm like the best friends with my ex-husband, and we are going to spend Christmas together with my current partner and all the kids. I'm so happy that we get along so well and that all of us are together can be together for birthdays, for Christmases. That's really something amazing that I've achieved. I do let my sister, my father, and my mother, as they passed over. And I'm an incredible person because of doing that. And it's been one of my things that I'm so honored that I was able to. And they let me. So I want you to take the time and think about 10 things that you are incredibly proud of, that you've achieved, that you are like fucking incredible. And yes, I'm sorry, I'm swearing, but really freaking incredible. Why are you so incredible? What is the communication you want to make to the universe? Like, yes, I'm an incredible human being because I love people deeply. I have a great sense of humor. I went to university and came first in my class for, despite my dyslexia, I have an incredible job and I help others get better. Whatever it is for you, realize what it is and write them down, because the more that you stay in the state of gratitude and in the state also of like acknowledging, hey, I'm actually a kick-ass person, then that is what you communicate to the universe. Yes, you've understood the homework. Yes. Yeah. Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful. Yes, you've given birth to 2 children and you've breastfed them up to 6 months each of them. Yes, incredible. Isn't that an incredible thing that you've done? Oh, wow. Having paid for someone's schooling. But look at how good the world is, right? How many incredible things we have, how many incredible things we do. And let's communicate that outwards. Let's first get that back for ourselves. So, a list of 10 things that you absolutely love about you, the achievements that you've had, that you've made. Could be anything: schools, universities, kids, partnership, your sense of humor, your qualities that you love about yourself. Maybe you've lost a ton of weight and you're super proud of that. Maybe it's you love being quiet and being an introvert. Just notice what it is about that gives you energy. So that's the homework. Tomorrow we will be back on here with much more. Anyway, Much love.